In the United States right now, Tesla Model 3 and Model Y are the cheapest they've ever been. Well, actually not technically. The Model 3 has been cheaper, but not by much, and it was only for a few days. However, I think that may change very soon. I'm going to tell you why I think it's going to change and why I think if you plan to buy a Tesla, you should be putting your order in as soon as possible. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Welcome back, everyone else. Thank you for tuning in. Big shout out, kudos, and thank you very much to our Patreon supporters, YouTube members, and also to you for subscribing and supporting the electric revolution. In my opinion, going to play an enormous part, or it is playing an enormous part, in the decarbonization of the world. In other words, in just leaving the world in a better place for our children, which is extremely, extremely important. Tesla has decreased their prices, or have they? Sort of. No. Well, actually, decreased and increased. They first started off recently by decreasing their prices, as I have tried to tell you all they would for many months now, and I suggested it would probably happen in around January. Now, I'm not the only one who said this, there's many other people who said this. However, when it came time, Tesla actually did reduce their prices of their electric cars. Model Y, Model 3, every model, Model S, Model X. Yeah, pretty much every single model, the price was reduced in almost every country, massively in some places, by up to 30% in some places. The prices now are an absolute bargain. Now, if you live in Germany, if you live in Norway, if you live in France, if you live in the Netherlands, if you live in the United States, if you live in Canada, if you live in, well, China, in particular as well, there's never been a better time to buy a Tesla electric vehicle. Now, if you factor in the rate of inflation over the last couple of years, then yeah, Tesla vehicles are their cheapest they've ever been in all of those countries. It's actually not even close. It's really an incredible time now. Because of this price pressure Tesla is putting on other automakers, they are sort of being forced to react. I mean, for example, the Ford Mustang Mach-E has been reduced in price significantly. What about in China? Well, NIO has reduced their prices. XPeng have reduced their prices. NITA have reduced their prices. I mean, almost every car company, almost every major electric vehicle car company has reduced their prices. I mean, Toyota, yeah, they're not a major electric car company at all, but the BZ4X, that is, I think it's about $24,000 in China right now, even though it was already cheap to begin with. It was about $29,000. It's now come down to $24,000 because it's not really selling. It's the 70th best-selling electric car in China. Toyota had to reduce their prices. Why? Because Tesla did. But it's all starting to change. This won't last long. I said this before. I said prices would go down, but they're going to go back up again, and soon. There's a key reason for this. First of all, we already know Tesla has raised prices again in Australia and in China, and I believe in a couple of other countries as well within the last 24 hours. Why have they done that? Well, I mean, what's the point of continuing to sell your vehicles at these prices if your order backlog is now many months in advance? So Tesla has essentially created this situation where they made a huge amount of demand for their cars, and then they said, well, you know what? We don't need to keep doing this. Places like Australia, where the price just increased, Tesla has many, many months of demand now. There's really no reason to continue to sell their cars at that cheap price. Now, they still are. They've only raised the prices by a little bit in China and Australia. However, I believe the United States is next. My suggestion is, if you're in the market for an EV, if you're umming and ahhing about getting a Tesla vehicle, I would place my order now. Now, if you lose your deposit because you change your mind, it's not the end of the world. But most likely, you're not going to change your mind once you've driven one, and you'll stick with the order while the price goes up. Now, I could be wrong on this. Of course, it's possible. But I think it's very, very likely based on the reality, which is that Tesla demand has been insane in January, and therefore Tesla's backlog has dramatically increased, that Tesla will raise prices. Now, keep in mind as well that Tesla has just increased the price of the base Model Y in the US as well, by a little bit, not by much. I believe these price rises will come even more now, especially since Tesla vehicles do qualify. In fact, they all qualify now for the $7,500 electric vehicle incentives. Now, some of them won't qualify for the entire incentive because the battery pack in some vehicles isn't all made in United States, but most vehicles will qualify. So my view is get in now, place your order. If you change your mind, you can probably just follow through with the order and just sell it. Own the car for a few months, see if you like it. Then you can sell it probably about the price you paid for it, because the prices will very likely go up. Or hey, if you love it, just keep it. So that's my buying advice. Many of you have emailed me saying, should I buy, should I not buy, should I wait for the new battery technology? Well, I don't believe this new battery technology is coming out for a while now. I think it's going to be a few more months, and I think it's not going to be en masse yet in American-made vehicles. It's going to come to Chinese-made vehicles first because, well, CATL's factory is just around the road from Tesla's factory in Shanghai. So for the US-made vehicles, I don't believe you're going to see any more advanced battery technology over the next 6 months in US-made cars. Therefore, the time to buy a Tesla is probably now. Now, I don't make anything from giving you this advice, nothing at all. There's just zero benefit to me whatsoever. Basically, really what this comes down to is I'm just trying to give people a heads up on what I think is coming.